Roberta Abdul Salam, Robert Ash, Jim Dorrit,
I'm here.
Roderick Edmond,
Present.
Bill Floyd,
Present. Yeah.
Roderick Fireson,
Present.
Jerry Griffin, Jerry Griffin,
Here.
thank you. Frida Hardage,
Here.
Alicia Ivy,
Present.
Russell McMurray, Al Pond,
Present.
Rita Scott,
Present.
Christopher Tomlinson, Thomas Worthy,
I'm here.
Thomas Worthy,
I'm here.
thank you.
Marie, I'm here. It's Roberta.
Chairwoman, there's 11 board members participating.
Oh, thank you very much. I have a couple announcements. One, we have a couple changes that were different from my calendar, so I want to make sure that you have them on your calendar as well. October 29th at 9:30 is the regular scheduled meeting of Planning and Capital, Ops and Safety, and our Business Management Committees. November 4th at 6:30 is the Riders Advisory Council. And November 10th at 10 a.m. is the MARTA Accessibility Committee. November 12th at noon is our next regular scheduled board meeting. And then November 20th at 10 a.m. is the next audit committee meeting. So if you can make sure that you have the right dates on your calendars. We did move audit committee, so that's one that is going to be probably different. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 10th work session of the Board of Directors?
Moved. This is Robbie Ash.
Second, Ivy.
Is there any discussion? Is there anyone that opposes? Then the minutes are approved. The last thing on my part for the report from the chair is just to let you know, as we enter into the last quarter of this calendar year, we need to take a moment to discuss how we want to proceed with the board for 2021. Normally in November, we appoint a nominating committee and they come back with a slate of officers to present at the December meeting. And these officers go into effect in January. We've had some unusual circumstances this year, and we really haven't met in person since March, which I know I commend everyone for all you're doing to make it work the best we can. We have 7 current board members that are up for reappointment. So as we go through all these issues, I just want to make sure that we'll be dealing with all the local jurisdictions and trying to look at timing on all of this. So I was looking for opinions from our board members as how you want to be the most effective with this going forward. So I'm asking your opinions as to how we should approach this issue. If anyone has any opinions.
Frida, Miss Frida, how many did you say was up?
There's 7.
7?
Mm-hmm.
Liz, remind me, or Robert or whoever, remind us, I believe that the timing for the officer elections is something, I mean, how specific are our bylaws in terms of when that happens?
So I'm not sure, Robert's on the bylaws. What the bylaws, this is Liz, say is that the board members are, officers rather, pardon me, are to be elected from among the members of the board annually at a December meeting of the board for terms to expire on December 31st of the succeeding year.
Okay. Well, I would suggest that our 7 members, and if you don't know who you are, and I am one, who are either up for reappointment or whose terms will be expiring, should decide for themselves whether they want to be reappointed or whether they want to seek reappointment from their appointing jurisdictions. I think that's an appropriate thing to think about. And I also think it's an appropriate thing to think about in terms of picking our next officers.
And Robbie, Mr. Ash, I'm sorry, if I may.
Robbie's fine. Mr. Ash is an old man with no hair.
I'm not even going to say anything.
Yeah, I'm making up for both of us. That's what you wanted to say.
We have the same hair color these days. But does the bylaws go on to say that if the election is not held at a December meeting, then it shall be held as soon thereafter as is convenient to the board?
Okay.
And Robbie, I think one time, since I've been on the board, we didn't hold it until like January or February, waiting for the changing and getting all that done so that we didn't make appointments and then had to change them. I don't know if I can't remember when we did that, but I do believe we did that one time while you were chair, if I'm not mistaken.
Madam Chair, this is Thomas.
Yes.
I'm one of the ones that are up for reappointment 12/31. Don't know if I'll be reappointed or not. But given the kind of uncertainty of the pandemic, when it will end, I'm of the opinion that we need to wait and see who of the 7 are reappointed and then cross the bridge of the officers, perhaps appointing a nominating committee in January and then voting on officers in February. I think that makes a lot more sense to postpone it by 2 months than usher in new leadership and then some of us may not be reappointed. That's just my one board member's opinion.
And this is not me arguing against that, but I will remind that given the nature of things, it's entirely possible we will find ourselves in the exact same position in January than we are right now. I mean, the MARTA Act provides that our members who serve on an expired term continue to serve until their replacement is named, which is how we've had members serving for years, literally, including in recent history, on expired terms.
Well, I will reach out to some of you this month and think about it. I'm want to work on behalf of the board and whatever makes the most sense, so that we can do this as effectively as possible and not have to do it twice. So if that's a nice way to say it. So,
Madam Chair, can I ask one last question?
Yes.
If a board member is elected as an officer and then subsequently not reappointed, is there just another election held to fill that officer slot in that eventuality?
That's my understanding. I'm correct, Liz? We have another committee that determines that.
Yes, I believe that's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So all we're really trying to do here is if we can avoid doing it twice.
Right. All right. Thank you. Just a question.
Ms. Frida,
Heather,
you've been,
I'm sorry, yes.
I was just asking, how long have you been on?
How long have I been on as chair?
On the board? No, not as chair.
I came on the board in December 2013 and filling a seat for someone who left and before their term was up.
Okay.
I'm not up for reappointment till next year at the end of next.
That's what I was asking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not me. I'm not one of the 7 this year.
No, that's not what I was asking. You made the comment that you believe that at least once since you've been on that We
Oh,
had,
yeah, I'm
we-
sorry, yeah, since sometime in
yeah.
2000, it seems to me that I remember we did it one time, but I can't remember when.
yeah, but that hasn't happened since I've been on, and I think
Okay.
2015. So that's why I was asking.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, that ends my report. I will turn it over to Jeff for his report.
Thank you. I have a few things to share. One is not on the agenda because we just heard the great news this morning that I wanted to share with the board. As you know, we do have an agenda item on the board meeting which includes the board's approval of our agency safety plan. There was a presentation at the Operations and Safety Committee by Gina Major updating the board on the agency safety plan, which has been reviewed by GDOT and conditionally approved pending the approval by the board. But in addition to the approval of the safety plan, we have many ancillary documents that we have been developing and reviewing with GDOT. And in the period of the update that you're given, we still had 3 outstanding documents. We've gotten word this morning that they have signed off on all of our ancillary documents. So pending the approval of the agency safety plan by the board, which I suspect will happen today, Gina, myself, and Chairwoman Hardage will need to sign the documents. That will allow GDOT to officially approve our plan, and then we will begin the process of self-certification to the FTA. So we're well within the December 31st deadline to get everything done. I want to thank, really thank, because this has been a lot of work both on the MARTA and GDOT side, Gina Major and her team for all the hard work that they've given. And on Russell's team, really want to thank Carol Comer and her staff, who are our state safety oversight organization, who have just done a wonderful job reviewing, working with us, giving us guidance, and ultimately working hard to make sure that the rail service that we provide is done safely. So great news we heard this morning. We have a presentation from Catherine Durga that she's going to go through. I just want to introduce Catherine, who I know you all know, but you know, I think that her personality is one that doesn't always give herself enough credit for just all of the amazing things that our Artbound program is doing. I was leafing through the presentation that you're about to hear, and it's just amazing what under her leadership we've accomplished. It's amazing to have a member of our team who's got such a passion around art and transit art. And, you know, we can't underscore how these sometimes items that feel rather small are meaningful and impactful to our customers, to the neighborhoods we serve, to give really explicit recognitions of some of the real difficult social issues that this metropolitan area and this city struggle with. And so with that, I want to turn it over to Catherine and just make sure she knows, and I've told her this before, that how much I appreciate her diligence and passion and enthusiasm around advancing art within the MARTA system. So Catherine?
Thank you, Mr. Parker. Good afternoon, Chairwoman Hardage, members of the MARTA Board of Directors, and Mr. Parker. What an introduction. That concludes my presentation for today. Now, I wanted to, oh, sorry, guys, sorry, technical difficulties. Okay. That's where it goes. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Thanks for your patience. So, I'm Catherine Durga. I do lead MARTA's public art program called Artbound. And I'm pleased to be here to give you an update on what we've been working on for the past 12 months. It has been since September 2019 that we last gave an update to the board, and so today I want to touch on our music and performing arts program, our visual arts program, some of the partnerships we've been able to engage in the community, as well as give a look ahead to what's coming up. So as a snapshot of the program, Artbound was launched in June of 2017. MARTA did have an existing art collection at that time, consisting of artworks that were installed as the stations were built. Right now, we have 41 total artworks that represent the work of 45 artists. 30% of those artists are of color, 36% of those are women artists. If you look at the art program just since 2017, 63% are artists of color and 42% are women artists. And so the industry standard, unfortunately, is about 15% artists of color and 13% women artists. So we're much above that, but we obviously still have room for improvement. Last fiscal year, Artbound dispersed around $195,000 to individual artists. So, and just to look at some of the community partnerships that we are engaging in. All right, there we go. And here you see we work with a number of municipalities as well as CIDs and many art organizations within the Atlanta metro area as well. And so I want to walk you through, starting with September of last year, kind of what we've been working on with Artbound. We kicked off last year called MARTA Bars and Beats, and this was a partnership program we did with Soul Food Cypher, which is a local rap collective. They share rap to encourage self-expression, literacy, and community building, along with Bottom of the Map, which is a locally based but nationally recognized music and culture podcast. We put these events on at 4 different MARTA stations over 4 weekends. We also worked with Streets Alive this year, or last fall. This is a production of the Atlanta Bicycle Coalition, where they block off a street. In this case, it was Ralph David Abernathy from West End Station to Westview Grocery. We engaged a local experimental, very young arts organization called The Bakery, and we tasked them with creating 3 fantastical transit lounges. And so they worked off the ideas of play, design, and collaborate, and engaged people to think about MARTA in a different way. Last October, we also tried a pilot program called Concert on the Car. And for this, we invited 50 Instagram influencers and their friends to join us on the streetcar for an evening, a ride, and an evening of live music on the car. We had concert lighting, we had professional sound setups, and we rode the streetcar. We're supposed to do 2 laps, but they clamored for an encore, so we did 3. And they really enjoyed it, and the streetcar was actually in service. And so customers were able to get on the streetcar, and they did, and enjoy the music as well. So it was a lot of fun, and I think it's a good example of how we can think of innovative ways to get people on the streetcar and to let them experience it for themselves. In October of last year, we also were able to partner with Livable Buckhead for a mural at Path 400 called Great Blue. This is a wonderful piece that can be seen from the connector, either from your car or from the train. We continued with our robust series of performances at 5 Point Station. We hosted the Panther Entertainment Group last fall. They are a student collective from Georgia State University made up of music production, management, and performance majors who do their own show. They put it all on themselves. And it was wonderful. We also hosted Serenbe Playhouse again for The Jungle Book, which was hugely popular. November saw the return of Terminus Modern Ballet Theater. This marked their 5th performance with us at 5 Point Station, which is always exciting. And then in early December, we were able to celebrate the opening of the Eastlake Station mural. This mural is massive. It takes up 2 sides of DeKalb Avenue at Eastlake Station. And the artist here was chosen from around 100 applications. Living Walls was our kind of production partner in this. They managed the mural process, they managed the selection process, and with their help, panel was able to select Nico Romero. He's from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He's our first international artist. And his method of working is to come into the communities where he's creating the artwork, to meet people, to understand what their neighborhood means to them, and to have them show him objects that are meaningful to them and tell him about things about the neighborhood. So for that, we hosted 2 open houses with Nico. He spent about 3 or 4 hours each day and had people come and talk to him about what was important to them about their communities, from Kirkwood and East Lake and other surrounding communities. In addition, he stayed with a family in East Lake. He was hosted by a family. He got his hair cut at the barbershop in Kirkwood. He went everywhere that anybody told him he needed to go and check out. So he really immersed himself over the course of 3 or 4 weeks in this neighborhood and was able to paint this wonderful mural. We then, on December 7th, as said, we had a community celebration to mark that opening with free coffee and hot chocolate. Our now famous Artbound tote bags were given away, and we took a great group photo by drone. And I wanted to let you know, we do have videos. I'm going to be sending out a link with videos about the making of this mural, as well as our Bars and Beats events that happened, because I want you guys to have an opportunity to see them. They don't quite work over WebEx, apparently, but hopefully you'll have a chance to look at these videos. They're wonderful snapshots kind of how these things work and of how people interact with the projects that we do. Kind of rounding out the year last year, we brought back the carolers. We kind of becoming a MARTA tradition at this point to bring the holiday carolers on. They bring their funny sweaters, and they get on the trains, and they sing on the platforms, and they sing at the bus loops. What was exciting about this year was that we were able to expand that offering to Clayton County. And so you see here we had a hot chocolate bar that we set up at the Clayton Justice Center. That was a 2-day hot chocolate bar, as well as carolers at the Justice Center. They also rode the bus with our patrons and sang to them there. So it was a really nice way to finish up 2019. We opened up 2020 at 5 Points. We teamed up with our marketing program to take part in the customer appreciation event. Artbound's contribution to this was setting up what's called a Free Art Friday, and that is where well-known street artists in Atlanta hide little small pieces of artwork around the city. They take a picture, they put it on Instagram with the hashtag FAFATL, which stands for Free Art Friday Atlanta. And so people know to go and find these pieces. We engaged Catlanta and Hold It Down ATL, who are 2 sought-after artists, to create custom, bespoke MARTA art for us, which we then gave away at 5 Point Station. We also engaged Beltline Personality, that's the only way I know to describe him, the ATL TV head, so you can probably tell why that's his name. And he created an interactive artwork just for us, which you see there in the 3rd image. And so the reason that I'm showing these to you as Instagram posts is also to let you know that this is the week that we launched our Instagram page. So we do have now MARTA Artbound has its own Instagram, MARTA_Artbound. Hope you will all follow us. And this was really our way of leveraging the Free Art Friday, which is an Instagram event that's enjoyed citywide, to build followers. And we did build about 800 followers that week, and we're now up to about 1,500, 1,600 in there. But this was a really fun way to kind of kick that off. As we know, March brought changes for everyone. And so March 15th was meant to be the kickoff of our live station music. We wrap it up at the end of the year, and we wait till the 15th of March to open to let the weather warm up. So we had a lot of musicians who were ready to go, get in the stations, but of course we had a national shutdown. And so challenged with a way to maintain engagement with our customers, even though we were not going to be on site with them anymore. And also out of a desire to support artists at this time, we came up with #IsolationCreations. So each of our musicians is invited to create a video of themselves singing an original song, which they then send to us. Anyone who creates a video gets a nominal fee. Anyone whose video we actually show on Instagram is paid their full gig fee. And so we've been through 3 rounds of this so far, and we have pretty good engagement both from our musicians as well as our Instagram followers. So moving into the last part of this year, we had project planned for the Clayton Transit Hub, and it was a community mural, meaning that the artist had been asked to create a design and stencils that then the community could come together and paint the mural with him. COVID, of course, presented some challenges for that, and so being able to think our way through this project and this event really helped us understand how things might work in the future, because I believe that, really one of the strengths of the program is the ability for community engagement and the method that we can do that through fun and through creativity. And so we don't want to lose that aspect, but we want to be safe. And I think this gave us a great opportunity to do that. We had a good amount of participation. Honestly, we got quite a few people painting. Someone you recognize there. And it was a really fun event. That was in early July that we did that one. We skipped a slide. There we go. Sorry, I've skipped a slide. Going back. Talking about some partnerships, the other thing that happened in the first part of the shutdown around April was that we were reached out to by several CIDs. Midtown Alliance reached out to us first. They were interested in expanding their existing mural across the street to MARTA property on the emergency stair surrounds using the same artist. And so we were able to get that through pretty quickly. The goal with these CIDs was similar to our goals as Artbound, which was continue to support artists, engage with the community, and provide something that is a brightening of the day in the community and something new that's happening in a safe way. So Perimeter CID also reached out to us. They are working to upgrade the shuttle stop there in the parking garage. They've chosen an artist. The mural will go in later this month and early next. Her name is Nika King. And then Brady Mobility, the Upper West Side CID, reached out to us about this retaining wall. And they also have chosen an artist, Chloe Alexander. And so these murals will be going in soon. The Decatur Arts Alliance was also inspired by the shutdown, but they were inspired by the movements for social justice. And so they reached out to us asking about the proposition of doing a call for Black artists to work at the three stations that are located in Decatur. So that would be East Lake, Decatur, and Avondale, of course. And through that, we had over 200 applications. A panel selected 3 artists. And we were sort of inspired to continue that project down the East Line. And so we're going to be choosing 2 additional artists from that group for both Kensington and Indian Creek Station. But what you see here are the artists that were chosen for East Lake, Decatur, and Avondale. We were pleased to put a bit of a bow on the home station mural. The mural, of course, has been finished for some time, but we have graphic text panels that will be going up there in a few weeks. This kind of just tells the life and legacy of Dr. Holmes, and so it's a nice way for people to really understand when they see the mural who they're looking at and why he was so important to Atlanta. And finally, of course, the airport station is getting an upgrade soon, and with that, we expect a new art piece. There'll be a giant mosaic there, 70 feet wide by 15 feet tall. Again, over 200 applicants. A panel narrowed that down to 10 finalists who all received a proposal fee to create something that the panel could really vote on. And they selected artist Michael Jones. He's local, an Atlanta College of Art graduate. So he's been here a while, and this is what you see here is a tiny portion of the proposal he turned in. He is interested in Atlanta's city of neighborhoods, as he calls it. And so what we will eventually see is kind of a skyline, but also the neighborhoods, the people, the festival life, what people do to kind of relax in their own communities. And it should be a really gorgeous piece with a lot to see. So what's next? We will be putting out more calls for proposals at 5 Points, Avondale, and Indian Creek for more permanent pieces. We are working on station programming with Kenny Leon's True Color Theater for next year. And kind of an exciting thing with our Artist Invitational, this is a new method of selecting art, of commissioning art. We are looking to do a tribute to Atlanta civil rights leaders, and with that, we are planning to partner with the Hammons House to curate a list of high-caliber artists that would be invited to propose. So rather than do an open call, this would be going to artists who are internationally known and asking them to propose for this project for a fee. I want to leave you with this image. It normally is supposed to be moving and dancing, so just imagine these folks shaking it up on the MARTA blocks there at Streets Alive. But I want to leave you with this because whenever I talk to artists about working with us at Artbound, they are always, to a person, so excited and enthusiastic. And so I wanted to share that Atlanta's metro artists love MARTA. They have a lot of affection for it. They use it. And they're always, like I said, excited to work with us. And so I kind of carry that around with me, and it drives my passion for what I do. And I hope that that's something that you guys can feel a little of the warmth from as well. Anyway, at this point, thank you. And if anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to take those now.
Catherine, can I just, thank you. And before anyone asks any questions, I also want to just acknowledge that, board member Alicia Ivy has really been an inspiration for the Civil Rights Leader Tribute and the invitational that we've put out for that. So I want to thank her for the efforts around this, and her passion on this is exciting to us as staff members, and we thank you, and we know that there's a lot of excitement by you all on the board around this program. But hats off to you, Catherine, for your hard work.
Thank you. It's a team effort.
Any questions?
Yes. Hi, Catherine. This is Rod Frierson. This looks like some wonderful, wonderful artwork that you've already painted and implemented, and I'm looking forward to the conceptual artwork that will be placed at Indian Creek. Indian Creek is a station that is dear to our community, and we hope that something will be brought to that community that will give recognitions not only to the residents but to the fact that it's probably at one time a Native American community that was in that community at one time. And so I look forward to some things happening at Indian Creek, and whatever artists that you bring to that project. I'm sure it's going to be well done. And so, but thank you. I appreciate it very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
Catherine, this is Alicia Ivy. I just wanted to say this was a wonderful presentation, absolutely well done in all of the work. But I am so proud of the work that you and the staff is doing along with the artists to work with the community and getting their input and involvement. When I looked at when you were giving your report with the artist Nico and how he immersed himself in the community, that just shows the spirit not only of MARTA, but the spirit of the city and the spirit of the people in which we serve. So I want to thank you for your leadership and all that you have done in presenting to us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I 100% agree with you about the community spirit. It's so fun, honestly, to have people take ownership in the work. And I think that it also helps MARTA, it helps build the brand at the same time.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Rita Scott. I too want to just thank you for the presentation. So excited to see the work that has been done. To put it in one word, it's beautiful. When looking at the tribute to civil rights leaders, we are working with DeKalb County commissioners and elected officials in looking at ways to honor the late Congressman John Lewis for the district for his constituents in the district of Congressional District 5. So I would hope in looking at that I would be willing to help propose a mural or something to that effect with the DeKalb commissioners. They've created a countywide community group looking at ways, well, they have a way, but the things they're going to do to acknowledge and make permanent recognition for the congressman.
Wonderful.
Rita, this is Melissa Mullinex. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. A couple things I want to say. The invitational for the tribute to the civil rights leaders, this was really born out of Miss Ivy's, it's her brainchild, and Catherine and I have been trying to we move forward this Hammond's House partnership, and we will be sharing with the board. This has, of course, the call hasn't gone out, the details haven't been finalized, but the inspiration really is sort of very specific to the 2020, the disaster that happened this year when we lost Reverend Lowry, Reverend C.T. Vivian, and Congressman Lewis. And so the idea behind it is to shape the call to probably 6 artists. And it doesn't have to just be a mural, right? That they might propose some massive sculpture, some landscape, it could be any number of things. So, but we'll share that more with the board before we send that invitational out, because it's going to be probably our largest commission ever. And so we want to make sure that the board feels like it is, structured properly. That's one thing I wanted to share with the board. The other thing is that for Indian Creek, I want to make sure you guys know that there's a plan for a large and permanent art piece there. Then the second one, the Black Lives Matter project that we're doing with the Decatur Arts Alliance, and that we're going to do at Indian Creek and Kensington. Those are designed to be smaller and more temporary. So we have at least 2 pieces coming for Indian Creek.
Great. Thank you. Well, let me say thank you, Ms. Ivy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for this brainchild.
I'm here to serve with all of us. It's a work that we all do.
And the reason why I brought up the DeKalb County efforts is because a lot of times it's not understood what part of the congressman's district was actually in DeKalb County. And so I know what the city, county, and elected officials are working on. And it's been a great discussion with the community. So, yeah. And I think there's even an area, correct me if I'm wrong, well, I know I'm correct, in Clayton County. Is that correct, Ms. Abdul Salam?
You mean a portion of the district of Congressman Lewis?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Yes, it extends. So a lot of times we thought, or he was thought of as Metro Atlanta. And actually, I've been in constant contact with with Nakima Williams, who has been appointed to fulfill his seat in January, about what we're planning in the district that he represented for DeKalb County. So thank you all.
Great. And I have one last thing I wanted to point out on the mural at Home Station. So when that mural was put in, as Catherine says, it's been there for some time. I think it certainly predates me and likely Jeff. But I think, Catherine, there wasn't an event done at the time because we have a partnership with the National Center for Civil and Human Rights, who put together the panels that Catherine showed on the bottom of the mural that talk about his integration of UGA with Charlene Hunter-Gault. And so we've been waiting on that. Those panels are finally approved as of yesterday, and we'll be going in and we'll be organizing an event with Dr. Holmes' family and the board, of course, in a COVID-friendly way as soon as we can. But we want to do an event out there to commemorate that.
Yeah, Melissa, you remind me, but sort of serendipitously at a UGA football game last year, I ran into his son, and he was at the time, and I'm sure still is, really excited about this mural and having an event. So I know, personally, the family is really looking forward to seeing this completed.
Melissa, if I may, this is Alicia Ivy. I just wanted to piggyback on something that one of my board colleagues, Mr. Rod Frierson, said, I think it was about 2 meetings ago, when he talked about us really having more publicity, regarding some of the great things that we're doing. And I think that this is certainly one of the things that the public would like to see, to let them know how we're moving forward and addressing these very important historical causes and iconic individuals and involving the community.
Absolutely. Yeah, we it's interesting. We put out, of course, press releases and all of this stuff, and it's the common dilemma. If it doesn't happen, if it doesn't make Channel 2 news, did it actually happen? And hard to get coverage for some of these things. But I think Catherine's point earlier about the Artbound following on Instagram, that's good. We've got to do more in social ways to reach the public, and more. I think I don't think we've ever, Mara's done a really good job of like engaging radio listeners, right? There are lots of radio shows I think that would love to have the artist on who did one of these murals, right, and talk about that process. And that we hit a lot of people that way. So we've got to beef up that publicity push, as you say, Alicia and Rod. Thank you for reminding me.
All right. Any more questions before I move on to my my final item? Really good conversation, and want to recognize not just Catherine, but Melissa. The Artbound program falls under Jacob Vallow. It reports up to Melissa, and the whole team under Melissa just been so focused around this energy and how it's part of making my point about lines and dots, where the dots, not just the lines that connect our stations, but the dots and the communities that surround our stations are so important to what we do. And this is just part of that overall strategy and engaging the communities and leaning into the communities in a meaningful way. So thanks to everyone.
Thank y'all, and please look out for that email. We're going to be sending you guys the video link, so do take a look at those and enjoy them, and thanks everybody.
And make sure you follow the Instagram, MARTA _Artbound. I already have Catherine, so I will be sharing it. I'm not an Instagram influencer by any means, but I will be sharing. All right. Thank you. I think there's a one slide after this that I wanted to share. Yeah. So while that's a really impactful program, this next item is also just extremely impactful to what we do. As we know, we all focus on providing people with public transportation and moving people around, but there is so much that goes into that to make what we do and how we do it part of the communities that we serve. And a huge piece of that, and it's been just magnified with what's gone on with people moving out in the streets and sharing their concern over where we are in this country, and inclusion is part of that. And we are in the process of developing a training program that we're calling Inclusion Matters Training Program. And I'm going to read a quote that actually really just coincidentally was shared today from Raphael Bostic, the Atlanta Fed chairman, and it really fits in well with what I'm about to talk to you, and it really paints, I think, an important picture for what we're trying to do. And his quote, I'm going to read it, is: "The conversations we hope to spur with this kickoff event and the series are critical because systematic racism has a deep cost to our country, not just in psychological or economic terms, but also by limiting economic mobility, innovation, and educational opportunities." you know, and that quote means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to the board. And we talk a lot about DBE participation when we're advancing contracts and projects. And as you look, and the bar chart on here is a great indicator of success that we've had. We meet our goals. The bar charts show the federal fiscal years and the goals that we've set that Paula Nash has shared with you over the years. In addition to that, we spend a lot of local money, not through our federal program. We're doing more to track that money. So, for example, in FY19, MARTA spent $52 million with DBE firms on federally funded projects and $122 million with DBE firms on locally funded projects, which secured about a 39% of our local dollars spent in FY19. And that's a great success. I will put that up against where peer transit agencies are, and recognize the hard work of what we've done. But by no means are any of our metrics ever going to allow us to rest on laurels, because that's not what this program is about. This program is about making sure that disadvantaged businesses are given opportunity from the dollars that come in from the citizens of this country. Many, and most of them who are riding our system are minorities, but throughout our region. And we've got to focus on that in a better way. And so when I really was thinking through kind of how we can move our program to the next step, I was thinking about really two good examples, some difficult conversations that we've had around, for example, MV, where we were not as successful as we would like to be, and I'm not looking to have that conversation again. We've moved beyond that. The board is about to approve a new contract, and we've really changed in a dramatic way the DBE participation in our mobility service, which is fantastic. We're going to go from under our old contracting approach about 12%. We'll move to probably getting to about 40% of our mobility services will be by DBEs, one firm that's contracted directly, and then through the prime contractor having a significant goal and a clear expectation of meeting those goals. And then another example I thought about was our contract with Stadler. We're buying and investing significantly in rail cars. The rail car industry is completely an international business. Every single rail car manufacturer that provides business in this country is a foreign company. The company, as you know, we selected is based in Switzerland. They have a U.S. presence in Salt Lake City. And it occurred to me that, why should we expect that a company that is based in Switzerland and does business in Salt Lake City is just naturally going to understand the MARTA, the Atlanta, the Metro Atlanta perspective on our DBE program and inclusion in general, and why that's important. So what we've been successful with, and it's wonderful that we've been successful with this, is defining the what and the how of our DBE program. It's well established. We can articulate it. We set goals. We largely meet those goals, and we're focused around those goals. But this training program that I'm previewing, and it is in the middle of being developed, is really about focusing on the why. And if we think about it, how can we expect that the outcome is always going to be consistently where we need it to be if we only focus on the mechanics of the program, how it works, what has to be done, what are the regulatory issues that need to be had, if we don't have an honest and open conversation about why this is important to the culture of MARTA. So we are advancing a program. We plan on bringing a resolution to the board for your approval to approve this as a policy statement and approve the funding so that our largest contractors, and what we're intending on doing is any contract or contractor that is doing about $25 million worth of business. And we think that in next calendar year, that will be about 20 contractors. We'll have a day-long Inclusion Matters training program, a partnering session, a session that will be focused on not only making sure that people obviously need to understand the what and the how of our DB program, but the why. Why is this important to MARTA? Why is the history of MARTA so tied to inclusion and the civil rights movement? Why is this something that is important to the board, important to the leadership team at MARTA, important to the elected officials who support us? But also understand the insight into the companies that we're partnering with to understand how inclusion and why inclusion matters to them, having a good dialogue around that. So I'm excited by this. I think that it is going to be impactful. I think that there's a clear business perspective here, and we will be able to measure this by a continued success and a measured success around compliance with our DBE program. But, you know, we believe, and I believe that in order to get to compliance, we need to be invested in making sure that we have aligned our vision of why this is important to our agency with the people who we partner with. And making sure that we have an honest and open dialogue about that will be I think, a renewed way of making sure that we're successful. So this is a program. There'll be more to come on that. We have a goal of starting it in the beginning of the year. In January timeframe, we've already beginning to establish a working group within staff-wise and a consultant that we hope to engage in helping us to deliver this. And I'm just generally excited about this as a very deliberate effort to focus on this important program that ultimately will bring disadvantaged businesses to a level playing field and be able to grow and flourish and be supported by the projects that we execute and being supported by the mission of our agency. So with that, I'll see if anyone has any questions or comments.
Yeah, first of all, this is Dr. Edmond. Jeff, thank you. I agree with the initiative 100%. And what's important, and you know, you know this, but what I really want is that you're very, very proactive in communicating this. Instead of dealing with the questions, why, we need to have a consistent answer. And the answer is obvious, is that inclusion, it builds a bigger pie. It basically is an economic advantage. The city of Atlanta is a classic example of that. The cities that did not have inclusion basically got stuck in the mud, like Birmingham and Charlotte. And Atlanta basically just blew up. It blossomed, okay? We created more opportunity for everybody. It builds a bigger pie. Everybody makes more money. That is the answer. So if we could, let's not, you know, focus on the why. Let's be clear in the answer. It builds a bigger pie. And then the second point, which is less important, but is just as real, is that but for proactive measures for inclusion, then there would be no business for Black and minority businesses. All history has played that out. Relationships basically are the basis of business. And what winds up happening is that when people live in their silos and they're not interacting with each other socially, the end result is that, and I don't think people are out there saying, okay, I'm going to discriminate. Clearly, some people do, but not many. But the end result is you sit back and have data and statistics that show that in operations that you would expect for there to be 35, 40% inclusion of minorities, there's like less than 1%, all right, like the state of Georgia, all right? So it happens. And if we're not proactive, then the end result is you look up one day and everybody's shocked at the numbers. So it's important that everybody on our team, on MARTA's team, they are armed with the answers. We know what the questions are. They need to be able to come out the box and say, this is why we're doing this. It makes economic sense. It makes business sense. And if we don't do it, history shows us that it'll be completely lopsided.
Agreed. Anyone else?
Yes, Jeff, this is Alicia Ivy again. I just want to say, I think that this is definitely the right step in moving in the right direction, because as we are working with companies who do business with us that are international firms that may not quite understand why it is important. It is very important for those companies and their colleagues to go through some intensive understanding of why it's important for the history content, and also we need to understand the matrix at the end of the day too. I think it's very, very important, and for the small business community, for diversity. I receive so many calls about from small businesses about how they are trying to usher through and trying to foster communications with companies that don't quite get why it's important for diversity and inclusion. I think the Inclusion Matters program will certainly help and move us as an additional layer in the right direction, particularly because we've seen as of recent some of the things that we've experienced as a board and as an agency. So I want to thank you for this step and thank the staff as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Do we have anything else?
No, just a final comment. We will be coming back to the board to preview the program so that you have an understanding of the content that we plan on delivering, to make sure that comments like Dr. Edmond just gave and board member Ivy just gave can truly be incorporated into this, and we look forward to more engagement around this program. So with that, Chairwoman Hartage, I conclude my report. So thank you very much.
Madam Chair, this is Thomas. I just have a question that'll take a very few seconds, but do we have any update on a plan of when we may be meeting in person again, when that may happen, or are we still just playing it by ear?
I will let you know that I don't think there's a plan in place as to when we can come back together as a group, but Melissa Mullinex and Jeff and I were in the boardroom recently, and they've done a lot of work to try to get us ready for social distancing once we do return. There's still some stuff being done, but everybody's going to be mindful that when we do return, it's going to look a little different in there and how we can do that. And so I don't have a time frame unless anybody's got a magic ball as to when we can come back together.
Thomas, this is Melissa. We're still, the governor extended his order until November. I honestly don't remember the exact date, but it's middle November. And so we have extended our telework policy until then. Jeff and Kali and others in the operations team have been talking about making a decision about whether we're going to do that through the end of the year. And I think we're still working through that part right now.
Yeah. But we are, although, we don't have clarity around the return date, particularly for the board meetings, to answer your question. We are working on changing the physical confines of the boardroom so that we can, promote social distancing and make sure it's a safe environment when we believe we're in a position to return. So does that help answer that?
Including plexiglass shields and fly swatters in the boardroom for everybody.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No one like my debate joke? Okay.
Chair Frida, I would only make a comment, this Bill Floyd, that I've seen a lot of cities who are doing some in-person meetings these days, and they are restricting the number, they're giving options to their council people to either be there or not. So as you begin to pursue this, I think probably you're going to have to consider where we would limit the number of board members that would be on site and also have an option there for participating off-site. And I think that is going to involve a couple of things. One is space, but also there are a number of us that are not going to want to be there for health reasons or whatever. Anyway, just a comment.
I can appreciate that. And I think that those are all good points. That's why I don't think we have a clear plan as how we finally are starting to make these meetings actually move along pretty well with this system. So until we can have a pretty clear plan and mandate, we'll continue to move forward like this. Any other questions?
This is Dr. Edmond. I just want to comment, and I want to kind of support what Mayor Floyd just said. We're in uncharted territory right now, and Frida, I think you got this fully under control. I know we're going to move forward with the data. There's going to be movement. There's going to be change in terms of basically bringing everybody back together physically. But when we do that, there is no cookie cutter approach toward it. So I'm sure that what we do initially is going to accommodate those people who don't feel comfortable coming into close quarters again for a while, and we'll just have to play it by ear and just see how it goes. I personally, I'm following the data. All the data trends in Georgia are still going up, not down. And when we make a decision to come back together, I'm personally going to take it on a day-by-day basis for the benefit of my family. I got 5 kids, and I got to stay alive because they eat, and I got to pay for them. All right. No offense. If I'm not physically there, I'm there in spirit. When I feel I can come back and not get sick, it can be around till I'm 100. Take care of my babies. I'll do that. All right. All right.
And let me say that I think from our perspective, we really want it to be safe for everybody. I, of all people, I'm working with this every day. So I agree with everything you just said, Dr. Eben. I think what we have to do, though, is let you know that we're not assuming that one day when we do come back together, that it'll ever look like it did before. So
yeah, there's no script. There's no script to this thing. This is all new. It's all new.
Yeah. We have an executive session that we need to go into. Do I have a motion to move into executive session?
Madam Chair, this is Robbie Ash. I move to move into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters.
Do we have a second?
Griffin, second.
Okay, thank you. We now need to leave this system and log into the other system.
Hey, this is a Rod Edmond. I don't have the link to go into the executive session. Can somebody email that to me? Hello.
Sorry, I was on mute. I will track that down and get it sent to you. All right.
Yeah, it's not on my calendar. It's not.
Okay. We'll get it to you. Thanks.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to move into the board session. I'm just trying to make sure all of our board members have had an opportunity to sign in. Ms. Peters, are you prepared to call roll?
Madam Chair, should I go ahead and call the roll?
Yes, let me call the meeting of the
MARTA
Board of Directors
Board of
to
Directors
order
to order
on this Thursday, October 8th. And Ms. Peters, can you please call the roll?
Call the roll.
I'm hearing no.
I'm hearing no.
I'm not hearing anything either. Just so you know, I don't know where she is.
Where she is.
Frida, do you hear
Frida,
me?
do you hear me? This is Jim.
I hear you, Jim.
Hear you, Jim.
Hear you 3 times.
I'm trying to find
I'm trying to find Marie.
Hey, Frida, this is Rod. If anybody has a list of the board members who should be here or who have the opportunity to be here, we can move on without her. If somebody has a list, we can just call it.
In other words,
I can go with you.
Yeah, you can do the same thing that she did.
Okay.
Okay. I've got the.
Here we go.
Here we go.
I will call the roll.
I will call the roll.
Hey, Frida.
Yes.
Frida, this is Jeff. They're having some trouble. So why don't you call it?
Okay.
Okay.
Does anyone else?
May not be in alphabetical
order this time.
Hey, Frida, we're getting feedback. If everybody put this on mute, I can hear you.
Mr. Griffin?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
I'm here.
Mr. Pond?
Mr. Pond.
Present.
Mr. Tomlinson?
Mr. Tomlinson. Present.
Mr. Ash?
Mr. Ash.
Okay, I don't think he's here.
I don't think he's here.
Mr. Worthy?
Mr. Worthy.
See Mr. Worthy?
Hey, Mr. Worthy.
Thomas Worthy?
Thomas Worthy.
Miss Ivy?
Miss Ivy.
Present.
Present.
Mr. Floyd?
Mr. Floyd.
Present.
Present.
Miss Scott?
Miss Scott.
Present.
Present.
Miss Abdul
Miss
Salam?
Abdul Salam.
Present.
Present.
Mr. Durant?
Mr. Durant.
I'm present, but I must tell you I'm hearing a terrible echo.
Mr. Frierson?
Mr. Frierson.
Present.
Present.
Dr. Edmond?
Dr. Edmond.
Here.
Is there anyone I
Is there
did not
anyone
call?
I did not call?
Counting myself, I have 11 board members present for the meeting. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the September 10th MARTA Board of Directors.
Excuse me, Chair Hartage, this is Liz O'Neill. Would you like to take the public comment before you do the minutes?
I'm so sorry, Liz. Yes, I overlooked that. Please do.
Thank you. We received 6 public comments before this meeting. The first comment came from Antonio Harrison. The second comment from Tony Taylor. The third from Ed Williams. Number 4, Ron Shakir. Number 5, Adrian Coleman. And number 6, and I apologize if I mispronounced this, but from Faison Ladi, who is the owner of MB Transportation. And those are the public comments received, and they will be attached to the minutes of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Now can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2020 meeting of the MARTA Board of Directors?
Alpine, move for approval.
Okay, Griffin, you second?
Yeah, second.
Okay. Are there any abstentions? Any no votes? The minutes are approved. Our first committee report is from External Relations Committee, and that's Mr. Ash, and he's having problems calling in. And I don't know, I'm sorry that I don't remember who the co-chair for the External Relations Committee is. Can I have?
Chair,
It's Rita Scott.
Ms. Scott, can you read that? Ms. Scott? I will read it
yes.
in lieu of time.
Can you hear me?
Yes, can you read it?
It will be just a moment.
Oh, no, Mr. Ash, are you, can you read that from, I know that you were at one point not in a car, so I didn't want you to.
I am still in a car, but I can read it if you tell me when I'm supposed to. I don't have access to video. Yes, I can read it right now.
Okay.
You ready for me?
Yes, sir.
Madam Chair, the External Relations Committee met on September 17th, 2020, and received the following briefings. A briefing of MARTA Hope Homeless Outreach Pilot Project. B, the MARTA Heroes video. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Ash.
Thank you, Mr. Ash.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
We now have an update from Planning and Capital Programs Committee.
Yeah.
All right. Fellow board members, Madam Chair, the Planning and Capital Program Committee, we met on September 30th, 2020, and we approved the following resolutions. There was a resolution authorizing the approval of fiscal year 2021 bus, rail, and mobility services standards. There was also a resolution authorizing advertising for disposition of property rights in parcel D3212, an abandoned rail spur location on the northwest side of New Peachtree Road in Chamblee, DeKalb County, Georgia. And lastly, there was a resolution authorizing execution of a license agreement with the new Singular Wireless PCS LLC for a monopole located at Art Center Station. I respectfully request approval of these resolutions.
Do we have a motion?
Is there a motion?
Durrett, second.
Do we have any abstentions? Any no votes?
She puts cover on it.
Approved.
All right, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Edmond.
Madam Chair, this is Roberta Abdul Salam. I was trying to do a point of order.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Ms. Abdul, what, I can't hear you.
Point of order. I was trying to ask a question before you moved on. Are we not to hear what the public comments are?
They're sent to us and with the documents that we receive. We don't hear them at the meetings right now.
But
they've been sent and they send you with who reached out to the person.
Is that in order though?
I'm sorry?
I'm asking point of order. Is that in order?
So if I may, Madam Chair, that is the procedure that we posted on our website and have for during the period that the meetings have been held virtually.
And I've asked about it repeatedly, so I'm asking again, is that in order?
Miss Abdul Salam, Ms. Robert, there's actually no requirement that we do public comment at all. And as long as we publicize the method by which the board will be taking public comment, and as long as we follow that method, which we have done here, it is in order and compliant with the law.
Thank you. Position.
Any other, did that answer your question? Our next committee report is Operations and Safety. Mr. Griffin.
Madam Chair, the Operations and Safety Committee met on September 30th, 2020 and approved the following resolutions. A, resolution authorizing the award of contract for mobility operations and maintenance services, RFP P42894. B, resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for the procurement, mobility, centralized scheduling and dispatching services, RFP P46865. C, resolution authorizing the award of a contract for the procurement of emergency on-call repair and maintenance services for MARTA light rail, overhead contact system and traction power stations, substations, IFB B45064, and resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for the procurement of deep cleaning and sanitizing services for MARTA facilities. And E, resolution authorizing the approval of MARTA agency safety plan. I request approval of these resolutions.
Durrett, do we have a second? Okay, Durrett. Okay. Any comments? Do we have any abstentions? Do we have any no votes? It's approved.
The committee received the following briefings, security of MARTA's frontline employees. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Our next report is from the Business Management Committee. Mr. Frierson.
Madam Chair, the Business Management Committee met on September 30th of 2020 and approved the following resolutions. Resolution A, authorizing the modification in a contractual authorization for professional services and the purchase of software for the implementation of the enterprise performance management planning and Budgeting System for the Office of Management and Budget, RFP P 39893. Next resolution authorizing the solicitation of proposals for the procurement of leave of absence administration services, RFP P47301. I request approval of these resolutions.
We have a second?
Ivy, second.
Is there any discussion? Are there any opposed to this? Do we have any abstentions? They are approved.
Madam Chair, the committee received the following briefings on contracts, procurement, and materials. Madam Chair, this concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Frierson. I have a resolution that I would like to read authorizing the chair of the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority Board of Directors to execute an amendment to the General Manager CEO Employment Agreement. And this is to extend the terms of the agreement. And I wanted to read, whereas the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority and Jeffrey A. Parker entered into an employment agreement on March 25th, 2018, and whereas the terms of such agreement is to continue until June 30th, 2023, and whereas the Board of Directors believes that Mr. Parker is providing excellent leadership of the authority during his tenure and has accomplished numerous achievements during such time, and whereas the Board and Mr. Parker would like to demonstrate their mutual commitment to continuing the plans for expansion of the system and numerous other initiatives regarding the existing system begun by Mr. Parker by extending such agreement and making changes with respect to various other matters contained in the agreement. Resolved, therefore, by the Board of Directors of the Metropolitan Atlanta Rapid Transit Authority that the chair of the Board of Directors is authorized to execute an amendment to the employment agreement extending such agreement to provide for an end date of June 30th, 2026, and to effectuate various other changes. Thank you, Mr. Parker, for your hard work under these very unusual circumstances this year. We very much appreciate what everybody at MARTA is doing. Do we have other matters that need to come